As you can see here, I have already opened my program and I have my 10 shapes. Some of them are angular, some of them are more organic. What we're going to do today is we're going to arrange our layers. We're going to be able to move them about, flip them if we need to, make them more transparent, all sorts of neat things. So the first thing I want to show you is this. As I look over here, I have my background layer. Let's say I didn't like my background color. In that case, I could always say layer, new layer. Okay. And I have a new layer down here. So if I use my paint bucket and fill in the blue, it will cover up that other background layer. I don't want to do that right now, so I'm going to say Control Z to get rid of that. Okay. I have all these shapes. A few times I forgot to create a new layer, so some of the shapes are on the same layer as another shape. So if I move the orange one, I'm going to also move the blue one because they're together. But if you look, I've got my shapes on different layers. I've got an extra blank layer that I just created, but everything's organized through here. So if you don't want a layer, you can always click the little trash can to delete it. And if you make a mistake, you can say Edit Undo. So the first thing I want to show you is how to move shapes around. Now, right now I can see all my layers. That might be a little confusing. So if I want to click the little eye next to my shapes, then you get rid of what you can see. Okay? So if I just wanted to look at this yellow shape, that would be the only eye I would click. All of the layers are still there. That's just the one I can see right now. If I want to move the yellow layer, I have to be clicked over here in the yellow layer. So you can only move or alter the one you're clicked on, the layer you're clicked in. A lot of times people try to move things, but they're in the wrong layer. So you want to make sure that you're clicked in the right layer. This little tool at the top that looks like a cross with a little arrow next to it is the Move tool. So you can make things bigger or smaller. You can also, if you click by the corner, you can also rotate them, okay? And let's say I didn't just want one of these shapes, I wanted two. Over here to the right, you can duplicate the layer and say, okay. So now I have two of these. One thing a lot of artists do that's good is they repeat elements within their canvas, repetition. So it's neat to have the same shape more than once. And let me bring in this black one. Let's say I wanted to duplicate this black one as well. And now I've got two. I can move this over here. And I can move this larger. So let me go up here and bring these two back. These three, I didn't make new layers, so that means they're locked together. So if I do something to one, such as move it around, I'm going to do it to all three. So let's say I went to these shapes and I twisted them a little. Okay. Don't be afraid to go off the edge of your canvas. Can I okay that move? I'm going to duplicate this one again. It's here. You can't see it because it's behind the other one. I'm going to make it smaller. Every time you move something, when you're done, if you're happy with the move, you have to click the green arrow. If you're not, you click the red. And what happens, I notice a lot of times, is students go ahead. I'm going to move this layer a little bit lower so it's behind those things. I've noticed a lot of times students do this. Let me take this, the blue and the orange. I'm going to make this one visible. Okay. I've noticed a lot of times students move something. So I'm clicking on the Move tool. I'm in the layer. And now I'm able to move this. I've noticed that students will, I'm not done with the move, but if I try to go to another layer or do something else, it won't let me do something else until I say if I'm okay with that move. So I'm going to duplicate this one again. You just want to think about making an arrangement that makes sense to you, that you like. Something else that's sort of cool, I'm going to do one more of these, duplicate layer. Okay, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to make this one here, but I think I'm going to move it underneath. Something else you can do that's really neat is you can change the transparency of the layers. So let's take this red shape here, okay? If I'm clicked on that layer, and you want to just focus on the red shape right here, over here, I have to be clicked in the layer on the layer palette. But where it says opacity. Opacity is if something's opaque, you can't see through it. If I wanted this to be more transparent, I could go through and make that more transparent. let's say 50%, so that you sort of see through that. And then I could duplicate this layer and go through, and let's say I wanted one that wasn't opaque. I could do that as well. So let's say I did this here, and I moved this down. But what you're going to do is you're just going to keep going and experimenting until you're happy with your composition. One thing I think I want to do is I want to go ahead now and I want to do a new background. So I'm going to say layer, new layer. Okay. And if this layer was at the top, remember, you can always click and drag the layers to move them around. Okay, I think I want a layer that's, first I want to see what it would look like if it was white. That's the blue. Ooh, I like the blue though, don't you? Okay, you see the white? I like the white, but I also like the blue. So I could save it. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to save it. I'm going to say save normally. So now I've got it saved, but I'm also going to say save as. I'm going to keep my same name, and I'm going to add white. So I have two different versions of my picture. This one I have to add the white background in. So that if I want to do things with either composition, I have both. When you are done and you're happy with your design, you're going to save it normally. And I've got two of them saved. I've got the blue one saved and the white one saved. And then you're going to say save as, and you can save it as a JPEG. This way it's going to be easier to upload, just like we did the filter project. And you can upload it to Schoology as a JPEG. So you're going to click on the first JPEG. It's going to say copy in the name, and you say save. And then okay. When you look at your desktop, you'll see that this says copy in the name. So this is the JPEG version. And then the other version is right here. Here's the regular one, and then this should be the white one. Hopefully your desktop isn't as messy as mine. So go ahead, play around with your layers, move them, change the transparency, experiment, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.